Hello, good afternoon. It's almost afternoon, so good afternoon. And thank you for being here today and to spend the next 45 minutes with me. I'm Emanuela Girardi. I'm the president of ADRA. And today I will talk about physical AI and the position of Europe in the one that they call the global AI race. Why did I choose this topic? Because I really believe that today physical AI, it's not just the sum of robotics and AI, but it's really sort of paradigm shift. So we're really going from automation to autonomous, adaptable, intelligent robotic system. And I believe that this is a tremendous opportunity for Europe, and we must take it. So this is the year, to me, really of physical AI. But before starting to talk about physical AI, since I'm the president of ADRA, I wanted to spend a few minutes to tell you what is ADRA, for the ones who don't know it. And then I decided to divide the presentation into parts. The first part, after ADRA's presentation, will be about the technology. So what is this convergence of robotics and AI? And then we will talk about physical AI. And then in the second part, we will talk about the global AI race. What is happening? Before coming into the stage, I just saw that Trump arrived in the Emirates, in Riyadh, I think. And then also Sam Altman and Mark Zuckerberg are joining him. So it's really happening a sort of global AI race at the moment. And I want to discuss with you and to present you which one is my view on the position of Europe in this global AI race and which one are the opportunities. What can we do to participate with the leading position. So let's start with ADRA. ADRA is the AI, Data, and Robotics Association, and was founded in 2021 to become the private partner of the European Commission in the private-public partnership in AI, data, and robotics. And ADRA is, the way it was founded is that it brought together the different communities of AI, data, and robotics, which were quite independent and working in silos, not only in Europe, but I think across the world. So the vision was to bring them together because they are general purpose technologies, all of them, and to see if we could bring together the different stakeholders as well. So the research, the industry, the public stakeholders, so the European Commission and the European member states government. So we've been working for 4 years at the moment, so we're moving out from the startups phase, I would say. And our goal, the very first goal, very, very ambitious, was 4 years ago to work on building European sovereignty on AI, data, and robotics. Today, everybody's talking about European sovereignty because we don't have it in technology, but it's a very important goal to be independent from the technological point of view. And of course, we're working with industry to boost European competitiveness in technology, in AI, data, and robotics. With the research institution, we're working because we have excellent research institutions in Europe, but they need to become more and more excellent. And then, of course, with the European way, so to develop technologies that have also not only an economic impact, but also a social and environmental impact. So these are our goals. This is just a flavor of what we're doing. These are some of the topic groups. You can find them also in our website. We are working on the technologies. Then we're working on specific verticals. Then we're working on specific areas, like, for instance, education, inspection, policy, standardization, which is very strategic and critical at the moment. And then we just launched a new task force, a new topic group, that's AI, data, robotics, and defense, which is also a very hot topic at the moment. So if you become ADRA's member, you can join them. If you're not ADRA's member, you can participate anyway in the activities, because we think that ADRA is an open ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, and everybody, the more people participate, the better is the result. And these are just some of our members. We have today 200 members in research, industry, academia, and you can see startup, big companies, everyone is, they're growing fast. So this just was to give you an idea of ADRA, and the last part is, of course, the people who make ADRA. These are our 18 board members. They're coming from research and industry from all across Europe. They're very high-level people, and I think that this is also one of the richness of ADRA, the diversity of the background and also of the cultural background that we have in Europe. So this was Adra. I hope you can join us, or you can come and check it out on the website and to see you in our event and topic group and workshop. Now let's move to the convergence, to the technological part, to the convergence of AI and robotics. First of all, I think that everybody knows that AI and robotics, they are both general purpose technologies. What are the differences between the technologies that we have today and the general purpose technologies that we had like 1 million years ago, and 1,000 years ago, for instance, like the stones, the writing, the windmill, the printing press, or internet even. The difference is that the speed of development of technology today is, I could say, insane. And it's very, very difficult to govern this speed of development. So this is one of the most critical points today. And today, I think that the most fast developing general purpose technologies are AI and robotics. They are really probably the most transformative technologies of our area. And as before, they were working in sort of separate system like silos. Today, we're moving towards a sort of fully integrated, intelligent machine. And if you look at the economic opportunities, they are huge, because if you look at the robotics market or AI market, they're both really fast-growing market. So we have also a huge economical opportunity today. Okay, this was a video just to show you what is happening in the world. You probably saw have you seen the video from Figure AI of the robots working in BMW factory already? This is one of the best examples to me of the physical AI today. So these robots, they are really assembling in a factory. Okay, it's a test now, but they're really working in a factory, assembling parts of a motor of a car. What is important is also that these are two different general purpose technologies, and they have two very strong impact on each other in this merging new technology. On one hand, we have AI that is dramatically transforming robotics, and on the other hand, we have robotics that is really driving AI innovation. They're really complementing each other and bringing each other to the next level. For instance, AI, how is transforming robotics? First of all, we have enhanced perception. So we have vision system with semantic understanding. Then we have the multisensory approach, visual, tactile, audio, and they're all integrated. Then we have the real-time scene recognition. Then one of the very important one is also the adaptive learning. So with AI, robots can learn from demonstration. Then we have the reinforcement learning for very complex motor skills. And then we have also the possibility of transfer the learning across the different environments. And the last part, which is also very important for the robots, is the autonomy and decision making. So we have the planning under uncertainty. This is one of the most complex parts. Contextual behavior adaptation, and then self-learning and model refinement. But if we move to what robotics is bringing to AI, is really what AI was missing, because first of all, grounding intelligence. So physical interaction links AI to the real-world constraints. So really enhancing the opportunity of embodied reasoning. Then, of course, you have the multimodal integration. We also had it for robotics, like real-time decision constraints, vision, touch, proprioception, and forced data fusion. And then we have all the challenges of AI today. So the opportunities of taking over these challenges, like energy efficiency, environmental predictability, and safety and human interaction, which to me is one of the biggest challenges of AI today. So we've seen robotics and AI. Now let's look a little bit more into AI. Today we have generative AI on one side, but then we have we have seen in the past months the agentic AI, which is getting more and more important and more critical. Probably all of you have seen the video of Manus. Manus is the startup that it's really, they say that it's bridging the gap between the mind and the action. And if you saw the video and if you tested it, because it was possible to test it after quite a long queue, but it was possible to taste it, you could really see that we're really moving to a different direction. Because traditional AI, I mean, we were used to AI, like the prompt, the generative AI, responding to specific queries and generating outputs on direct input. But with agentic AI, we're really going to the next level because we have AI that plans, reasons, learns autonomously to achieve complex goal. And complex goal is really the key. So the main feature of this agentic AI that we have today, because now we have lots of agents everywhere, is that they do autonomous decision, multi-step planning capability, interaction with external tools of API. Probably if you saw the video of Manus, you saw that at a certain point, the user closes the PC, the laptop, and just goes off and comes back after a few hours, and the tasks are done, because this agentic AI is interacting with all the different APIs in an autonomous way. And then, of course, the continuous adaptation and learning. So I think that this agentic AI today is really taking us to the next level. I don't know if you were able to read the email that the CEO of Kaufman, of Fever, founder and CEO of Fever, sent to his employees a few days ago, that he said, hey guys, I'm sorry to tell you, but probably most of our job will be taken by AI. It's not really like this, but I think it's a very strong wake-up call for everybody. So where are we today with AI and with agentic AI? I think that, I mean, we are in this hyper moment, so everybody's super excited. But at the same time, we're living, and this is an image that I generated, of course, with the generative AI tool. We're living in a sort of I can call it AI chatbot Wild West, because we have companies that they do as they please, basically. They move fast, they break things, especially in the States or in China, and they optimize for profits whatever the human and social costs are involved. They simply don't care, they just move fast. But there are lots of risks also related to this sort of wild development that is happening today. First of all, we have very low transparency in how the chatbots are developed and optimized. There are very few chatbots that are really, or LLM, that are open source at the moment. And even the ones that they say that are open source, they're not completely open source, because then maybe they don't release the weight of the system, and so they're not really completely open source. Then there are lots of new use cases where there are emerging manipulative patterns. There are new ethical and legal implications that must be urgently addressed. And I think that this is also a very important part, especially considering that we are at IoT Congress. There is an increasing exposure and sharing of personal data. And this is probably it's one of the most critical points, not only for personal data, but if I think about the physical AI, also for the industrial data, that are one of the few data that today are not yet shared, probably with the big tech and so on. So probably you saw the new AI friend, that it's now available for 1 billion people. And just a few days ago, Mark Zuckerberg said, hey, everybody in the United States has just 3 friends, but they would like to have many more, up to 15. So look at what we developed. We developed an AI friend available for everybody. Fantastic. The only problem is that this AI friend will take more and more data, as if we haven't shared all our data yet. There are more and more data that will be shared with this AI friend. So I think that we always have to keep in mind that when we develop also the technology, and this comes the European view and the European approach, that personal data or even industrial data, now that we're moving into physical AI, have a value, but there are also some ethical value behind it. So this is a very important point. So what is physical AI? Physical AI is really the integration with the robotics platform of AI, with the robotics platform for interaction in the physical world. And physical AI, I mean, there are some synonyms, they're not all correct, but somebody calls it embedded AI, somebody embodied AI, and is AI that lives in the physical world, inside robotics, inside the autonomous car, autonomous or drones, or intelligent sensors. And unlike the traditional robots, physical AI system has these 4 capabilities: perceive and adapt in real time, understand the context, make autonomous decisions, and collaborate with humans in shared environments. So I think that these are the key capabilities of physical AI. The market is huge. I mean, there are thousands of graphics that show you that there are really lots and lots of potential. But especially in Europe is huge, because Europe, we have a tradition of manufacturing industry, and this is a very important opportunity for Europe that we cannot lose. So which one are the areas of application of physical AI? I identified 6 humanoid robots. These are the most famous because we see Figure AI robots, Tesla AI, we see all the Chinese AI robots that are really moving like humans and interacting with people, are general purpose adapting machine with perception and mobility. Then we have edge AI in industry. This is very important for Europe. Real-time collaborative robots for mainly today for assembly and logistics. Then autonomous mobility, cars, trucks, drones, navigating complex environment. Intelligent spaces, this is very important. Smart factories, hospital, before the speaker before was talking about the hospital, warehouses with integrated AI system. Then we have extreme exploration, think about the space exploration today, but also the deep sea exploration or the mining as well. These are also very important applications. And then the swarm robotics, so these collective agents for search and rescue, agriculture, and for monitoring. So these are some of the applications. Let's look at the sector of the option. These are just some of the main sector, but I think that as general purpose technologies, they will have an impact on all the sector. But these are the first sector that are already introducing them and adopting them. So of course, automotive. Before you saw the video of Figure AI robots that are being tested at the moment in BMW factory in the States. So they use it for assembly, welding, painting processes, then electrical and electronics, so employing robots for assembling electronic components. Then you have pharmaceuticals, using robots for handling and packaging medicine. Then food and beverage, implementing robots again for packaging and processing tasks. And then metal and machinery, so applying robots for material handling and fabrication. The market is huge. I even don't know if they're able to evaluate it today, because it's really just exploding, and it's really a huge market opportunities. Which one are the functions? We already saw them in the previous slide. The main function are, of course, the handling, so robots that are designed for material handling or for transfer operations. Welding is very difficult, and it's also scarce. There are very few people, or the welder, it's one of the most researched jobs at the moment. So robots specialize in various welding applications. Assembly, so robots used for assembling the different components and products. Dispensing as well, robots for painting, sealing, or to apply the adhesive and stickers. And then you have the processing, so robots involving tasks like cutting, grading, and polishing. So these are the main functions where they're already tested in several factories around the world. Especially in China, they are testing them at the moment, and in the States, a little bit in Europe. But there are many more other functions where we can use them. Which one are the challenges? So the opportunities are tremendous, I think, but there are some challenges. There are several challenges, because today we don't have yet systems that are safe, secure, and reliable. And this is one of the reasons why we don't have so many physical AI in Europe. We haven't developed it so much. So first of all, the technical challenges, which of course, I mean, we're not there yet from the technological point of view. The organizational challenges, also the impact that this system will have on companies' organization and also on the job of the future. Governance considerations, of course, and then there is the regulatory, social, and ethical consideration. But to me, the biggest challenges are learning, safety, and scalability. Why so? And this is also because with ADRA, I included a slide at the end of the presentation, we were talking with all the big industry players in Europe, and this is also what they're telling us, so from their direct experience in testing physical robots. So traditional training requires explicit programming or millions of real-world demonstrations. I don't know if you have tried or if you have seen Cosmos platform by NVIDIA. to train. It's a platform that uses synthetic data to train the robots for interaction in real world. They used 20 million minutes for training the robots, and they're not yet at the level they would like to be. 20 million, it's 2,000 years. So 2,000 years of training, which is very expensive, and yet they're not there where we would like to be. It's like if you think about the training of the LLM, so how many billion they spent in training the LLM, and they are not completely affordable, I would say, or reliable, completely reliable, and it's the same thing is happening with the physical AI. So physical AI system must understand not just the task, but the context, the physics, and most important, the variability, the novel situation. Real-world data collection is one of the biggest challenges, for instance, from the hospital or from factories, and is very expensive. It's time-consuming, and very often it's incomplete. I can use synthetic data, but it's not just it's the same thing of using real data. It's quite different, because then I'm not 100% reliable. But if I use a robot that is interacting with human, I cannot be 98 or 95% reliable. I need to be 100% reliable, and we're not there yet. And then, of course, there is a very high cost for failure, because we are in early training. We can make mistakes in the physical environment, but we can have either broken machine or we can have safety hazards, and this is very risky if we have a human-robots interaction. So I think that these are the main challenge today. So this was the technological part. Now let's go and see what is happening around the world. I think that the past 4 months, 5, because we are in May of 2025, have been completely crazy. We've seen so many things happening from the technological point of view, but also from the geopolitical point of view. So January, we started with Trump, that started as president of the United States. In the ceremony, you could see all the big tech, American big tech leaders that were really in the front line. And just few days after the starting of the new mandate of Trump, they announced a project of $500 billion, the Stargate project, which was the biggest project ever announced in the world. And of course, there was Sam Altman in the front line with Trump announcing it. Then, just a few days after the inauguration of Trump mandate, we've seen that from China, the arrival of DeepSeek. DeepSeek, that was they disrupted completely the development of LLM, and NVIDIA lost almost 600 billion of market capitalization in just one day. 600 billion. I checked it yesterday. 600 billion is basically, there are 125 countries that have a GDP that is lower than 600 billion, just to give you an idea, in one day. So this is the impact of the launch of DeepSeek on just one company. Of course, also the other big tech, they lost lots of capitalization. And this was still January. Then February. February, in Paris, we had the AI Action Summit organized by the French and the Indian government, co-organized. And so Europe was about to launch a new program of few billion, but then there was the 500 billion, so they couldn't compare. And so at the end, they worked like crazy to put together a program of 200 billion that Invest AI that was launched at the AI Action Summit. And this was 50 billion coming from European Commission and 150 billion coming from 80 European industries that decided to work together and to invest to develop European sovereignty in AI, data, and robotics, or in European technologies. But also France, they also wanted to, they were hosting the Action Summit, so they also wanted to launch something very strong. So they also launched 109 billion of investment. So until a few weeks before, we were talking about 2, 3 billion, 10 billion. Now, the scale is above at least 100 billion investment. And at the same time, Macron announced an investment of about 50 billion with United Arab Emirates. You see that also, the geopolitical balance is moving a little bit also towards the Emirates, because as I mentioned in the beginning, Trump just landed a few hours ago in the Emirates, and probably they will announce a 100 billion investment in technology together with Zuckerberg and Sam Altman there. And in February, again, if we look at the AI Act, the first bans of the AI Act enter into force. So if you remember all the systems that are banned in Europe, like social scoring or the biometrical identification in public spaces in real time, or the use of AI in the work or in education, or AI system to recognize the emotion, it's also forbidden. So all these forbidden tools, all these bans entered into force in February, and we have a long list of forbidden AI systems in Europe. And also something that probably, very few people know, also the obligation of developing AI literacy programs in companies entered into force in February. So it's really an obligation for all European AI companies to do these programs for their employees and collaborators and colleagues. But there are very few companies who know this. So this was February still. Then again in February, Elon Musk, he developed a sort of AI factory or data factory with 100,000 GPUs, but then to develop, to train his model Grok. But they said that this is not enough, and so in 3 months, it doubled. In 92 days, they doubled it to 200,000 GPUs. 200,000 GPUs, insane. And he released this model, Grok 3, which is very good, but is as good as the other LM that are available at the moment. So it's not like 200,000 more good or better. It's just that it's insane how much GPUs they're using for this. So what is happening in Europe? So Europe, in March, they already launched in December this AI factory, 7 AI factory, and then they said, this is not enough, we need to do more, because it's really a global AI race. And so European Commission launched 6 more AI factory. Now we have 13 AI factory that are distributed more or less everywhere in Europe. What are the AI factory? Are sort of local ecosystem where you have computing capacity, the possibility of having data lake, the possibility of accessing to AI talents, and also the possibility of accessing to venture capital financing. So this is, I think, it's a very good opportunity, it's a distributed opportunity. But this was not enough, because the AI race is really moving fast. And so in April, Ena Virkkunen, the Vice President of the European Commission and the Commissioner for Technology and Innovation, she launched the AI Continent Action Plan. And she said, the global race for AI is far from over. So Europe wants really to play a leading role, or at least, to be at the table, to be at the race, at the finishing line, at least for this global AI race, and turn Europe into an AI continent. And they also launched this Gigafactory. Gigafactory, it's still not clear at the moment what will be, but the compute capacity will probably be similar to the one that Elon Musk has developed for his Grok model. So what is happening in physical AI? If this is the global AI race, physical AI is going completely crazy, insane at the moment. We have this global race that is accelerating. US and Chinese startups are really developing and deploying humanoids, robots. Every day there is a new startup bringing into the market a new humanoid robots. These systems are entering the market before clear trust, safety, or ethical standards are in place. So they are not safe and responsible. The progress is impressive, I think, but there are lots of questions around the alignment, the reliability, and the governance, and all these questions at the moment are unanswered. What can we do in Europe? I think that Europe must respond with responsible innovation. This is our vision, and we need to make sure that we don't fall behind, because we have a really strong competitive advantage at the moment. So which one are our edge and which one are our gaps? I think that we have 4 very big strengths in Europe. So the first one is that we have world-class research and talent. And if this was not enough, Macron and von der Leyen, they just launched a few days ago, Choose Europe for Science, a 500 or 600 million program to attract the researchers who want to flee from the States at the moment. We have leading institutions in robotics, in AI, in cognitive science, and we have very strong academic and industry collaboration, because we have many years of Horizon Europe program of collaboration. This is the first point, research excellence. Second point, industrial and manufacturing strength. We really have in Europe a global leadership in mechatronics, in automation, and in embedded system. And this is very important because not only we're leading, but we have the experience in this. We have strong robotics OEM like ABB, KUKA, Comau, Bosch, and so on. And then we have also some trusted suppliers for smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0. So the industrial manufacturing strength is number 2. Number 3, the European vision for AI. We have an ethical, trustworthy, and human-centric AI framework. So probably the one of you who work in AI know that trustworthy is now a common word. Everybody is talking about human-centric and trustworthy AI, but this was founded in Europe. And also, the AI Act is based on the trustworthy and human-centric AI vision. And the AI Act, you can like it or not. I personally don't like it. I think that there are lots of things that are not working in the AI Act, but still is today a global benchmark for responsible and safe AI. So this is also very important. And then we have the standard also. We have a robust safety standards. And we're also working today on AI standards and on robotic standards, which are, I mean, especially for robotics, are essential. You cannot bring an AI embedded system into robots without I mean, a specific standard. And the last part, which could be a strength, but also probably I mean, like a gap, is the public investment and coordination. So now we have this 200 billion Invest AI program for AI infrastructure and adoption. It's a very ambitious plan. It's the first time that there is a 200 billion program in Europe for AI. So I have lots of expectation from this, and also from the AI factories, from the gigafactories, and then last but not least, the testing and experimentation facilities. There are 4 across all of Europe, and they're developing lots of programs to test AI system, also to test the compliance towards the AI Act. But there are lots of gaps. So, I mean, if we are so great, why we're not leading in AI? We're not leading in AI because, first of all, of the scale-up capabilities, we don't have them. We have too few robotic startups, and they're not able to reach global scale, so the fragmentation. We have limited venture capital compared to US and China. So venture capital, I mean, even European venture capital, they prefer to invest in the States than in Europe. And this is a problem today because we don't have enough money invested in Europe. Then the second point is AI hardware integration gaps. So we have a weak supply chain for key components, for instance, the chips, the sensors, the actuators, and we have a very fragmented industrial ecosystem. Then I think that one of the most important gap, the biggest gap, is the execution and speed. We are very good in strategy. I don't know, I mean, I can't tell you how many European strategy I've seen, but we're very weak in execution, and we're also very slow in implementation. So, and I think that this is because we also lack in Europe this sort of moonshot ambition and agile founding mechanism. I mean, we're not able to think big, or at least as big as they do in the States or in China. Then we are missing a unified market. You probably read Letta's report or Draghi's report that I mean, it was very clear that we have 27, at least 27 different states where when it comes for a startup that has to reach the global European market, it has to deal with all the different 27 legislation, framework, and so on, and this is a big issue. And then we have lots of barriers to cross-border innovation, scaling and testing, and so on. The last part, which I think it's now probably getting better with the AI factory and the gigafactory, is the compute and data access. So we're lagging behind in high-performance AI-optimized infrastructure. Today, we had very big, fantastic, I would say, HPC, high-performance computing center. We also have a supercomputer here in Barcelona. But these were mainly for AI and science, not for startup. They were not optimized for startup use, because startup, they didn't need HPC computing. They needed GPUs, the 200,000 GPUs that Elon Musk put in his factory, in AI factory. And then, of course, the data is the last part. We don't have access to data, especially now with industrial data that are needed to train the physical AI system. We need to collect them and to make them available for everybody. So these are the gaps. So how can we move now? I mean, if we want to make Europe the AI continent, and if we think that Europe has the possibility to do it, what can we do? It's very complex, so there isn't, of course, it's not that I give you the magical receipt, or that I ask ChatGPT or the AI oracle, what can we do? But there are several things that we can do. First of all, I think that we need to understand that in Europe we have the research, the industrial foundation, and the values that allow us to lead in AI. So this is an important part, to be conscious about this opportunity that we have in Europe. Then we are used to this top-down approach. The top-down approach, sometimes it's working, sometimes not. Now we have the AI factory, the gigafactory, the AI continent strategies. We have all these top-down approach from European Commission and from member states. But now, I mean, it is time that we start working also from bottom up. So we need to start empowering the startup, the innovators, and the local ecosystem to be able to interconnect and to scale. And then I think that we need to shift from this fragmented effort to a sort of coordinated and agile ecosystem. Here, for instance, in Catalonia, we have a super successful innovation ecosystem, but then it has to be more connected to the Spanish one and to the other European one, like, for instance, the North European innovation ecosystem are very successful and very strong at the moment in AI, data, and robotics. And then, of course, invest in sovereignty in technology, talent, and infrastructure, because today AI and robotics are very geopolitical, more than ever. Technology is one of the most important geopolitical factors. We need to be independent. A few years ago, it was the gas that we were buying from Russia. Today is the technology that we're buying 85% from the States at the moment, and the rest, more or less, probably from China. And the last part that I said before, I think that we really need to adopt a moonshot mindset, to act boldly and to act together. I mean, this is the most important thing to me. So what are we doing with ADRA? And this is the last part. In ADRA, we really started working on bringing together the industry across Europe, the leading industry in AI and in robotics. We started running this workshop where we understood that they share the same challenges, the best practice, of course, and the same needs. And they all said it's too expensive to train this physical AI system. So maybe we should think about developing a European robots AI foundational model. And this is what we are discussing at European level at this moment with the European tech industry and also manufacturing industry. And in the past months, we published a policy paper and technology roadmap on generative AI and robotics. And we are about to release, probably in the next 2-3 weeks, an AI-powered robotics strategy for Europe. So it will be available on our website, where we identify the opportunities, the challenges, and some use cases that are already applied in Europe today. So I think that this is really, I mean, to show you that we are working with the Commission on one end, I mean, defining the policy paper and the roadmap, but on the other end, and this is the top-down approach, but on the other end, we're already working with the industry leader in Europe with the bottom-up approach, really to bring them together and to build this European innovation ecosystem that is needed, I mean, to overcome the 27 or 35, it depends how many countries you want to count, but to overcome this fragmentation that we have, because only building this European single market in innovation, a digital market, but also innovation market, I think that Europe has a chance really to stand and to participate in this global AI race. So thank you very much. This was the presentation. I hope it was interesting for you. And I'm available for any questions if you have questions or clarification. Please, I don't have a microphone. I don't know if somebody is... Yeah, I can.
Yes, Thomas. I see two real challenges for Europe. It's Data Protection Acts, where US and China they just take all data and gather it and share it between stakeholders. We don't do that in Europe. We keep it private, and lockdown. The second part is probably to find the scientists who can really scale it and do the production side of it. Those two challenges that I see.
To find the site or the, sorry?
No, to go from science to production.
Ah, okay, yeah, true, you're right. This I didn't mention, but this is one of the biggest challenges, yes. So referring to the data, I mentioned the AI Act, but of course we have the Data Act, the Cybersecurity Act, and several other acts in Europe. I mean, we're really good in regulation. And yeah, I think that the availability of data, it's a big issue. It was a big issue for developing the LLM, so this is also probably one of the reasons why, I mean, we don't have so many big, LLM, like we have Mistral now, we have Silo, Alfalfa, but now we have some in Spain as well, but we don't have so many. But this is well aware at European Commission level, and the AI factory is going in that direction, because one point of the AI factory is the data lake, especially in verticals. So Draghi, in his report, identified 15 different verticals, and these are more or less the same verticals that are included in the AI factory verticals. And I think this, especially for industrial data, is a very good value, because we need industrial data, and industrial data are probably the only data that haven't been released, I mean, to the big models for the training. So we need to make sure that these data are not open for everybody, but are really open for the companies that are developing technologies, at least in Europe, and aligned with European values and with European also regulation. So I think that the data, it will be addressed quite well, maybe not immediately, but also the interoperability of data. So now they also started working on the standard for data sharing, and also for the labeling and so on in all the different verticals. So this part will be addressed. For the second part, yes, I think that one of the big issues is that we're very good in research, but we're not able to transfer the excellent results in research into the market. This is one of the biggest problems. And if we do it just at the fragmented ecosystem level. So in the north of Europe, they are quite good in this. They are trying to develop it, and they're really working very close with the university and with the research center with the industry. In the south of Europe, we are less good, I would say. So for instance, in ADRA, in the AI office, we created this AI innovation board, and we're working with all the member states, trying to connect all the different innovation ecosystem to make sure that the best practice in Norway or in Finland or in Sweden, because they're going quite well at the moment, are shared also across all the other member states, and to make sure that these ecosystems are connected. But this is one of the key points. So European Commission, I don't know if you've heard that there has been lots of talk about developing in Europe a CERN for AI, because there is more or less probably the same need when we developed the CERN in the 50s. Now there is a need, and there are several research centers and associations that are really promoting this idea of a CERN for AI. And there are two visions. There is one vision that is creating a sort of CERN for AI in science, and there is another vision, which is the one that I prefer, is to create yes, a CERN for AI in science, but connected to it a CERN for AI with industry. Because I think that this is the weak part of Europe, so we really need to make sure that industry are working together with researchers from the very beginning. And this doesn't mean that we don't need any more research, basic research, because that's important. But we need more applied research today, because one of the key issues of Europe is the competitiveness. So probably in the next 2 months, maybe you heard, von der Leyen will launch a competitiveness fund, which is the new framework program, investment program. And probably the next investment also in research will be driven by the competitiveness. So there will be, which means that it will be also measured on the results by the impact that they have on the competitiveness in Europe, which means that the research is also object-driven, not only basic research, but also purpose-driven. So I think that this is also a big change, which was included also in the AI continent and will come in the next months. I think the problem is that the gaps are well aware, but it's very difficult to overcome them. But now we are going into the right direction. The question is, are we able to move fast enough? That I don't know, because the speed of the innovation, it's too fast. So if we don't change the pace, probably, I mean, we will not be able to compete. But at least the new Commission, even if it's kind of the old, but still the new Commission, European Commission, is very well aware of this concept, and they know that if they don't act fast today, I mean, we will be lost somehow. And it's not only from the technological point, but I mean, overall. So it's, but I'm quite confident that we're moving faster, at least. If not fast, faster. Yes, please.
Hi, thank you. I'm the co-founder of Run Local AI, and we focus on like on-device local inference, right? So where inference isn't happening in a large data center in the cloud, but on, say, you know,
in the edge.
Yeah, exactly, at the edge. So we're partly based in San Francisco and partly based in Europe, and we found that in San Francisco, Bay Area, US, there's a lot of interest, a lot of hype around on-device AI. Presumably, I guess, because a lot of the OEMs and chip vendors are based there. But we don't know much about sort of, you know, what's going on in Europe and how much interest there is in on-device or local AI here. I'm curious to get your take about where that is on the European agenda.
Yeah, so I think it's very high at the moment. Again, the awareness that this is the next level of innovation, it's very high. And we started, for instance, as ADRA last September working on the first policy paper on this because we saw it coming, that it was really developing and fast developing. And we started providing European Commission with a strategic agenda on this. So it will be included, if we go and see, I mean, from the investment point of view, it will be included in the next European call. So there will be funding available for physical AI, especially for AI in edge. There will be lots of funding available. But more than this, there will be really a big change in this competitiveness fund because it's more designed for the startup needs and also for scaling up opportunities. So I think that probably in the next 2-3 months, there will be something coming from European Commission that it's really focused on this, on physical AI, on AI in edge, and on scaling up opportunities for startup.
Hi. With this huge amount of data generated by AIs, did you...
I don't see you. Where are you?
Here. Sorry. In your...
Okay, sorry. With the lights, I couldn't see you.
Yeah. No, my question is about the data integrity. So I don't know if with this huge amount of data that even with a human army cannot check it at the rhythm that is produced, did you think about a solution, for example, to certify the hashes of each file in blockchain or something for ensure the data integrity and the tamper-proof for to fight against the fake news or manipulation of this original data that produced the AI?
Okay, so for the standardization, we are thinking about standardization in this part. I think that is the main, probably the main answer to your question, is that we have a topic group that is working on standard. We first started working on standard on AI, of course, because now the harmonized standards should be approved, that are the standards that you need to follow for the compliance to the AI Act. But now, a few months ago, the data standard discussion started as well. They will come, they should have come at the same time, but they will come a little later. So we're working on this part, and data integrity is also one of these things, because there are lots of risks there. For instance, data pollution is one of the risks, and so on. And on the same, so this is from the data standardization point of view. On the other side, we're working on the education part, because I think that this is very important. And this is also related to the AI literacy mandatory approach of the AI Act, and to develop an AI literacy also to make sure that people develop a sort of critical thinking when they look at news, so fake news and disinformation, which is one of the biggest issues today. So it's a two-level, education on one side, training and education, and on the other side, standardization. Again, the topic groups of ADRA are open, so you can just go on the website, there are information, and you can see when there are the next meeting. Then, of course, to be engaged, you need to become a member, but to listen to the discussion, they are open, because we think that, I mean, the more people participate in the discussion, I mean, the better we create a European ecosystem on AI, data, and robotics. It's okay, so thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you want to get in touch, I'm available. Thank you.